Naptown Tuner here. Look, I'm thinking about it. It was on the top of my mind because I'm dealing with a weird issue. I'm gonna tell you about it right after this. All right, you stuck with me. Let's go outside and take a look at this vehicle. So yeah, this is the one that had the hole in the block and Q5. Cylinder 2 misfire. So weird. I've got parts laying around everywhere, so sometimes I just load up my shotgun and go and just throw a whole module on there. Module? This is a modular type engine. It's, in my opinion, the way I see it, it's kind of like Legos. The thing just clips together. I can pull this intake manifold off in the matter of probably realistically 5 to 10 minutes if I take my time. So I've got, long story short, because I'm always trying to speed things up for you because I want you to pay attention. You got a short attention span. You can click off to a different video. I put in new coils and new plugs across the board. Look, if they got old plugs and old coils, why mess around with one coil, one spark plug? No, just do them all. That's the way you do it. That way you know. Because look, the coils, yeah, they cost a decent amount. Like something like $100 for all four, maybe a little bit less, maybe 80. The spark plugs are also pretty expensive. They can cost about 12 bucks a piece if you buy good ones. Real quick on spark plugs, if you're a performance type guy, something I learned in drifting, because I met some high profile people on the drift tracks, is copper plugs have a stronger spark. The cheapest plugs have the strongest spark. Now you have to gap them. All right, the ones that we put in here are like iridium or some kind of other fancy metal. The ones that last the longest actually don't have the strongest spark, but they last longer. So you can throw your copper plugs in there and replace them every time you do your oil change, and you'll have a stronger spark. So anyway, I did a compression test. I'm good compression. I went ahead and just swapped out the whole intake manifold, the whole shebang. All new injectors, you know, the intake manifold's like a module. And I one time experienced a cylinder 2 misfire after doing everything. So honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't even know what's going on with this one. It might be wiring somewhere. I might have to do a wiring overlay, which occasionally you have to do that for whatever reason. That's not Audi specific, that's for any car. Sometimes, who knows what happens. Some rodent might have got in there or something. But that made me think, cylinder 2, oh no! Is this in there? When you take off your oil cap, you're gonna look down in here and you're gonna see this metal. It's like a little tiny sheet metal piece that clips inside there. I would call it a baffle. Look at this clip. See, I don't know if you can get a good vision on that, but this clip is already halfway off, and it's really only on there by one clip. Now it still feels pretty stout, but do you know Naptown Tuner made this mistake probably in 2012? Maybe somewhere around there. Anyway, we had the oil pump guns, and it has a little metal trigger in there, and when you're a flat rate tech, a lot of times you're working as fast as you can. So I don't necessarily know if I did this or what, but after I did an oil change, it had a cylinder 2 misfire, and I did all the above just like I'm talking about. Not really at the dealership. I swapped the coil, swapped the plug. I did it the cheap way. When it's a customer car, you might do things differently than when it's your car, but at the dealership, I can't get too off topic. At the dealership, you actually do want to go over and above as well, but when you're diagnosing, you don't want to just throw a bunch of new parts on it. You don't have to budget for that. You actually have to diagnose something efficiently. But okay, anyway, what can happen is if you take this to go get your oil changed at your quick lube place, then they could have the same type of oil pump gun, and whoever does the oil change could just throw it in there haphazardly and it could knock this loose. And then what happens? Once it's knocked loose, it will fall underneath your camshaft, your intake camshaft specifically, and then it'll get shredded in your cam lobe. Now, I've only seen this like 2, maybe 3 times, but I'm aware of it, and now I'm making you aware of it, and now I'm going to tell you the fix. Here's the fix. You take your pair of Nip-X pliers. It has to be Nip-X. You can't use any other pliers because Nip-X pliers are the best. They don't pay me to say that, but maybe one day they will. Who knows? But I'm very partial to my Nip-X pliers. Here soon I'm going to show you them all. But what you do is you just stick it in here like this, and you just pull it out. All right, now look at the little tube. See that little tang right there and that little tang right there? That's the only thing holding this little flimsy piece of metal in there. Now, you have a gaping hole to your camshaft. Is that gonna matter? It's not gonna matter one bit. No, not at all. The oil cap will go back on. The oil will splash on the oil cap instead of this little flimsy metal piece. You know what's better? To not have this metal piece in there, because this could potentially cause you to have to do major engine work. So just do what I did and just yank it out, and you'll never have to worry about it. Until next time, Naptown Tuner.